Well, it is exactly at 8:58 p.m. here at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. This is a Prime Edition. I'm holding down the fort for none other than my colleague, that is Tom Boyer, and certainly it has been a beehive of activities at the corridors of the Augusta House, with today being the first day of the impeachment hearing of none other than Meru Governor, that is Kawira Mwangaza. Of course, two scenarios are likely to come out from the proceedings once the sessions are concluded tomorrow evening. In the first instance, will Kawira Mwangaza prove to be a cat with 9 lives, or for the county assembly, will a third time be a charm? We have that and so much more in the next 1 hour or so. So stick around, talk to us on our social media platforms at Abdiaziz Hashim 1 as well as at KBC Channel 1. But before that, we have the highlights for you tonight. Will she be third time lucky? Senate host Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza to weigh grounds of a third impeachment attempt.
Only confirmed is one, and he has recovered.
Out of the woods, Kenya confirms absence of monkeypox after successful treatment of the only reported case. Businessman come politician Jimi Wanjigi to spend a Monday night in police cell following his arrest at the DCI offices.
I have gotten and I have weighed pros and cons, and there is a larger thing which will be beneficial to the country at large, including Uasin Gishu, that I have decided to take this other responsibility.
And calling it quits, Uasin Gishu County Deputy Governor Engineer John Barorot resigns. Welcome to the broadcast once more. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Brian Muraru. And we start at the Senate, where embattled Meru County Governor, that is Kawira Mwangaza, has pleaded not guilty to all charges lodged as grounds for her impeachment by the Meru County Assembly. In the third impeachment attempt, Governor Kawira Mwangaza is facing accusations of gross violation of the Constitution, gross violation of various national and county laws, and abuse of office. The mover of the motion, Zipporah Kenya, submitted the details of the alleged violation by the governor, urging the Senate to uphold the impeachment. As you can see on your screen, the impeachment proceedings are still on, so let's listen in.
That are received by the County Assembly as and when they are served. He has the original register here. But I don't know. Senators, and I'm truly sorry for this, because it's just arrived with his original register. You might not have the benefit of the copies, because it just arrived a few minutes ago, I'm told. So probably after this, copies of this original register can be made for the benefit of the Speaker and the honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, I would desire to respond to that request before a ruling is made.
County Assembly talking to the second witness. You do not remember that this particular day the County Assembly will have its day, and tomorrow the governor, through her lead counsel, will be able to defend herself, and will bring you all those images and proceedings once the proceedings are concluded tomorrow in the evening, where the senators will render the verdict. So let's come back here to the studio as I inform you on other stories making headlines at this hour. Uasin Gishu County is set to have a new deputy governor following the resignation of Engineer John Barorot. Engineer Barorot made the announcement on Monday at a meeting with Governor Dr. Jonathan B. and senior county staff in Eldoret City. His exit comes barely a week after he dismissed claims that he had quit office.
The now former Uasin Gishu Deputy Governor Engineer John Barorot had served 2 years in the position following a successful gubernatorial bid by Dr. Jonathan B. in the August 2022 general election. At a meeting with Dr. Jonathan B. and top county government officials, Engineer Barorot formally announced he had quit to take up a new role as Chief Executive Officer of an international company in the information, communication and technology sector.
The exit of our Deputy Governor, Engineer John Barorot, who has a secured position as a Chief Executive Officer of an international organization in ICT sector. His last day of work will be on August 31st, 2024. While it was our wish to continue working and tapping into Engineer Barorot's wealth of knowledge and experience, his decision to pursue interests outside political environment and public service deserves all the respect and appreciation. With the position falling vacant from September 1st, 2024, I will nominate a replacement within, actually, as soon as we are done. It will not take long. The new Deputy Governor nominee will be transmitted to the County Assembly for vetting and approval for appointment. I wish to assure the people of Uasin Gishu that the county government of Uasin Gishu remains on track in achieving the development agenda.
Reflecting on his stint as Deputy Governor, both Engineer Barorot and Governor B spoke highly of their working relationship.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, coming into the baptism was initially a bit tough, but I've actually enjoyed working with in the county in terms of dealing with administration, implementing the Nguzo Kumi blueprint that you put in place, and I believe it will continue. So really to remove all these rumors is an opportunity that I have gotten, and I've weighed pros and cons, and there is a larger thing which will be beneficial to the country at large, including Uasin Gishu, that I've decided to take this other responsibility within the private sector.
On Thursday last week, rumors of his exit were rife after he skipped Eldoret's conferral of city status by President William Ruto. For Prime Edition, I'm Christine Matunda.
Let's come back here to the capital, and more specifically at Afia House, where the Ministry of Health has confirmed the recovery of the only case of Mpox in the country. Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Baraza further says those who could have come into contact with the patient were also traced and tested, with 29 of them turning negative, while 10 samples will undergo further testing. As the government heightens surveillance and rapid response, the Director General of Health, that is Dr. Patrick Amoth, says Mpox vaccines will soon be shipped into the country.
The only confirmed case of Mpox in the country, a 42-year-old Kenyan male and a long-distance truck driver, is now confirmed healed and discharged. He had travelled from Kampala in Uganda to Mombasa on the 12th of July and was en route to Rwanda through Tanzania when he was detected at Taveta border point.
The only confirmed is one, and he has recovered. Okay, so we, as the DG has said, we have heightened surveillance.
Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Baraza has called for caution, especially for long-distance travellers.
So we urge the public, especially those with a history of travel to countries reporting Mpox cases, or those who have come into contact with a suspected case, to be vigilant. Even as the government say there is no other confirmed Mpox case at the moment, screening and testing continues. The primary risk in contact with an infected person or contaminated personal items or through sexual contact is the common secondary infection that would occur in our country.
One is, once we receive the sample, we divide that same sample into 4. We give one to the CDC lab, we give one to the National Virology Lab, we give one to the Walter Reed Lab. So we'll only come up with a result that is confirmed once we have had collated results from all these labs.
And we have 26 suspects right now, samples. About 10 of them are already in the lab. And once the lab results are out, we will be able to communicate.
Dr. Patrick Amoth warned of the existing strain of Mpox, stressing the need for sequencing.
This particular strain of Mpox is called the clade 1B, which is more transmissible, and it is also more serious in terms of the disease pattern. So it's important for us to be able to sequence and know specifically the genetic composition of the variant that we are dealing with.
This crisis has piled pressure for vaccines.
Africa as a continent, we require 10 million doses of vaccines. we are assured by the Nordic manufacturer of the vaccine that by the end of the year we can be able to have about 2 million doses. But the vaccine will not be for everybody because of the scarcity in terms of the availability of the vaccines.
Mpox has an incubation period of 5 to 14 days, but may vary from 1 to 21 days, which is the time from infection to appearance of symptoms, which include skin rash, mucosal lesions, fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, fatigue, and swollen lymph nodes that last 2 to 4 weeks. While noting there are other diseases that appear like Mpox, such as KBC and chickenpox, the government has advised the public to visit health facilities for proper review and adhere to required guidelines.
We have upped our diagnostic capacity. Remember, the platform used for testing Mpox is the same platform that was used for COVID-19. It's called PCR, polymerase chain reaction. For now, we have dedicated 4 laboratories to be able to do this testing, but we have redundant capacity of more than 100 laboratories if there's need to be able to call for additional laboratory support.
Testing is being carried out at the National Public Health Laboratories in collaboration with partner institutions such as KEMRE. The public can report cases through hotline numbers 719 or 0729471414 or 0732353535. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Indeed, Robbie, thank you for that particular report. Let's align it to the regulations issued by the Ministry of Health, because we all know prevention is better than cure. Now to the corridors of justice, where a court in Nairobi has issued an arrest warrant against a woman who allegedly contracted a hitman to kill her friend's business partner. While issuing the orders, Milimani Chief Magistrate Susan Shitubi ordered that Winfred Wanjigi be presented in court on September 2nd, where further directions will be issued. Ruth Wamboi with the details in the Scales of Justice segment.
According to the charge sheet, Winfred Wanjigi conspired with Rosemary Muathe to hire Marvin Omondi Abisalom to kill Muathe's business partner Anthony Maina Mutahi. The investigating officer told court Wanjigi introduced Rosemary to Omondi, and the trio held several meetings within and outside Nairobi to agree on an elaborate plan to execute Maina, where Omondi was promised 1 million shillings and a 20 million shillings token of appreciation will be given later. However, in a twist of events, the plans did not materialize, as Omondi reached out to Maina and confided in him of the plans to eliminate him. Chief Magistrate Susan Shitubi has issued a warrant of arrest on Wanjigi for failing to show up in court Monday. Elsewhere, businessman Yanesh Devani has been released on a 5 million cash bail in the September 2008 Triton oil scandal.
Bond of Kenya shillings 20 million with one short for similar amounts. That's if it is a property. Or in the alternative, a cash bail of 5 million with 2 personal sureties for Kenya shillings 5 million each.
Chief Magistrate Thomas Nzioka also ordered him to deposit his passports after the court was informed he was a flight risk, as he has been on the run for 16 years.
Mr. Divani, you are barred from traveling out of the country. I know you are a businessman. Please, you should not leave the jurisdiction of the country without leave of the court. If you want to travel, come and inform the court to look at your arrangement. Then they'll tell you.
And bloggers Kofina Oko Otieno alias Maverika Oko Otieno has denied 3 charges of publishing false information and cyberbullying on her ex social media handles.
The phones and laptop confiscated from her, said to be exbit, cannot be released at this stage. However, the police to release to her once the forensic examination is concluded and the relevant evidence captured. The application be revisited before the trial court at a later stage.
It is alleged on August 3rd she published false, defamatory and threatening information touching on Ambare and Jamal. Her pre-trial hearing is set for September 2nd. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
From the courts to the police cells, a businessman come politician, that is Jimi Wanjigi, will spend the night at the Kamkunji police station in Nairobi County awaiting arraignment at the Milimani Law Courts on Tuesday. Wanjigi's lawyer, senior counsel John Haminwa, confirmed he was arrested on Monday afternoon after presenting himself to the Nairobi Area Directorate of Criminal Investigations offices to record a statement over his alleged involvement in the Nani Nani protest on the 8th of August.
Businessman come politician Jimi Wanjigi arrived at Nairobi DCI offices a few minutes past 2 p.m. Moments later, there was some altercation between him and a police officer who tried to bar him from addressing the media.
I will go in at my own time. No. They say they have found a car outside my residence that has got items they want to question me about. I'm waiting to hear what that is about.
He will then make his way inside the premises,
That vehicle behind you.
only to emerge about 2 hours later and was driven away. According to Wanjigi's lawyer, senior counsel John Haminwa, his client's arrest is unconstitutional, owing to an existing court orders barring the same.
And you had obtained orders in the High Court stopping any arrest or interfering with his liberty.
Wanjigi had presented himself to record a statement over alleged involvement in the Nani Nani protest on the 8th of August. On the day of the protest, police raided his Muthaiga home where they tried to arrest him but failed. Parsai Frederick, Prime Edition.
Also, the government has assured Kenyans that public schools will reopen for the third term next Monday, 26th of August, as scheduled after the Teachers Service Commission kicked off negotiations with the Teachers Union in a bid to avert a looming strike. Speaking during the opening ceremony of the World Skills Kenya competition at the Kenya School of TVETs in Gigiri, Nairobi Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogambas said the Teachers Union have aired valid grievances and the ministry will ensure all their demands are addressed. The Kenya National Union of Teachers and the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education KUPPET issued a strike notice 2 weeks ago demanding the resolution of 6 critical issues in their collective bargaining agreement, including the confirmation and the employment terms of junior secondary school teachers.
Meeting either tomorrow or on Wednesday. So towards the end of the week, we should be able to tell the nation where we are with respect to the strike. We are trying to ensure that we avert the strike because this is the third term. Children are going to school, others are going to do exams. It is not a good time for us to have a strike. The issues that the teachers are raising are legitimate concerns, but the challenges that the government has are also legitimate challenges. So we have to sit together and have authentic discussions to come to a reasonable agreement to ensure that the strike does not take place.
And on the political front, the Orange Democratic Movement ODM maintains it has no agreement with Kenya Kwanza that makes the two joint partners in the government. ODM National Chairperson Gladys Wanga says the 4 members appointed to the cabinet got the positions individually in response to a national emergency and the need to steady the nation. Now, Wanga further notes that ODM is a part of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition and will continue to play its minority role in Parliament alongside other parties to push for accountability, transparency, equity and delivery of services to the people in a cost-effective manner.
That the fact remains what our party leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, has said before. There is no agreement between ODM and Kenya Kwanza that makes the two joint partners in government. We have no coalition agreement with the Kenya Kwanza government as ODM. In response to a national emergency and the need to steady the nation, ODM agreed to release in their individual capacities the members who have been tapped by the president. As a party, we will not agree to engage with anyone acting in bad faith and with ulterior motives.
Well, it is exactly 17 minutes past the hour. We need to take our first commercial break here on KBC's Primetime Edition. Don't go too far. We still have more for you on the other side.
But I'm honored to be here for the launch of Kenya Vision 2030 and the coalition government's first medium-term plan. This vision is intended to help our nation to emerge in the first quarter of this century as a prosperous, democratic, equitable, and modern nation, as they say, a second world economy. The key message is that each and every one of us should see ourselves as the agents of change for which we all Kenyans have been yearning for decades. And without a vision, you are like a blindfolded person groping in the dark. Whatever comes your way, you touch, you think this is it.
Ni zawadi za kila wiki, 100,000 kila wiki, 250,000 kila wiki. Uamuzi ni wako. Sasa Rotomoto kwenye holiday bonanza hii inakuletea game mpya kupitia *570# option 4 na ujishindia up to 250,000 Kenyan shillings ukiwa nyumbani. Na draw ni ya kila wiki, na kupata tiketi yako ni kupitia *570# pekee option 4, na tiketi yako ikitufikia inaingia ndani ya drum.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
You're wondering why we're showing you that particular image, this story will tell you more. Now, thank you for staying with us, and also talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. Feedback on our stories that we're currently highlighting here. Now, commissioners of the newly reconstituted National Elections Commission of South Sudan are in Nairobi for a week-long induction by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission ahead of South Sudan elections in December 2024. Since attaining independence 13 years ago, Africa's youngest nation has attempted to hold elections unsuccessfully due to the persistent conflicts.
More than a decade since attaining independence, South Sudan is gearing for first election on 22nd December this year.
My colleagues are going to join me later in the day.
In preparation, commissioners of the National Election Commission are undergoing a 5-day-long induction and capacity building by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, facilitated by the Kenya South Sudan Liaison Office in Nairobi.
We are a very young commission. We were reconstituted in November last year, and we took oath in January, 3rd of January this year.
We've seen South Sudan grow. However, there have been some challenges on security, economy, but so far there is progress. And if we give chance to the opportunity that we have right now and support South Sudan, we can for sure, we can have a government which will be formed after the first election, and it will run continuously as the way Kenya runs.
This coming after the rival political players in South Sudan agreed to conduct the polls.
Our plan to have election in December, and this is based on our electoral law, National Election Act, which is stated that 60 days before the end of the transitional period, there must be election.
However, according to the IBC Chief Executive Officer Hussein Marjan, the 4-month timeline to the election.
They have won to battle with the timelines, which are very, very short.
They have to do the logistical planning. They have got to procure. They have got to buy technology if they are going to use technology. They have to register their voters, which they have not. Those ones are going to be nightmare.
The voters' registrations is soon to start, and that one all based on what the Election Commission have submitted to the parties to the agreement.
Principal Administrative Secretary in the Executive Office of the President, Abdiaziz, said the Kenya government will support South Sudan by building their capacity to hold elections.
Because I want to believe that in the spirit of the Commission in Southern Sudan, your interest is making sure you have a Southern Sudan which is better after that election.
If successful, it will be the first elections to be held in South Sudan since attaining independence on July 9th, 2011. Give us Minor, Prime Edition.
And now let me explain why we showed you an image of a dummy donkey. The Museum of Kenya, in collaboration with Wanjigi Livestock Training Institute, have come up with an innovative and ethical solution in a form of a dummy donkey formed using taxidermy, a process that will aid in offering educational experiences to veterinary students in Wanjigi County. Now, Dr. Sakwa Kamama, a lecturer at Wanjigi Livestock Training Institute, noted that using the dummy instead of euthanizing donkeys will go a long way in respecting the dignity of the animal while still providing invaluable education experiences. The researchers at the Museum of Kenya also called on other training institutions to emulate the usage of dummies to reduce the killing of animals for educational purposes.
We are friendly, training in a manner that is animal welfare friendly, and that is why we came up with the idea of using dummies to train certain skills, and this would go a long way in ensuring our students get to learn their skills, get to practice as much as they can, compared to when they would have used a real animal.
We use locally available materials to be able to come up with such kind of an end product, because we don't want to make it so complex that we are not able to achieve ourselves. So that's why we used locally available materials like styrofoam. We do plasticine, a bit of fabric that matches the animal itself.
This is one way of advancing science, so that science become really a reality and helps people to improve their livelihood or their social lives.
They say necessity is the mother of innovation. Moving on swiftly, organizations are being challenged to incorporate new technologies in the analysis, documentation and management of financial information. During the unveiling of the Automated Financial Reports Writer AI Optimum Computer Systems Chief Executive Officer Kosiga Mamboleo said Kenya's financial sector ought to be fortified with systems that ensure transparency, accountability and integrity. Mamboleo adding that the Automated Financial Reports Writer AI will facilitate a swift generation of accurate international public sector accounting standards compliant financial reports.
Organizations must be equipped with tools that not only manage but also analyze and present financial information in ways that are both insightful and actionable. Our AI-driven solution has therefore been meticulously engineered to not only automate the entire report generation process, but also to ensure strict adherence to these rigorous standards.
This AI-driven solution will not only streamline our reporting procedures, but also empower our staff with valuable skills and knowledge in financial automation.
Yeah!
And this evening, we tell you about the cabinet. Now, in 1979, he became the first politician of a European descendant to be elected a member of parliament in independent Kenya. He pulled another fast one when President Daniel Arap Moi appointed him to the cabinet. Tonight on the cabinet, we focus on Philip Leakey.
The youngest of three brothers, Philip Leakey, was born on June 21, 1949, to archaeologist Louis Simon Leakey and Mary Leakey. He first contested the Langata parliamentary seat in 1974 and came in second. 5 years later, that's in 1979, he threw his heart into the ring, this time beating Achieng Oneko to become the MP for Langata. This was the first general election under President Daniel Arap Moi following the death of his predecessor, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. In 1981, Philip Leakey was appointed an assistant minister in the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources. In 1985, he was moved to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the same capacity of assistant minister, and in 1986, he was shuffled back to Environment and Natural Resources still as assistant minister before moving to the Ministry of Supplies and Marketing in 1987. In 1988, Philip Leakey served as the assistant minister for Tourism and Wildlife, then went to be assistant minister for Technical Training and Applied Technology in 1989. Whereas the credit for anti-poaching activity has often gone to his elder brother, Richard Leakey, Philip was probably among the first leaders in the world to voice concern over the destruction of African wildlife. In 1988, he received a report by tour operators that revealed the extent of poaching in Kenya and warned that the country would lose tourists as a result of the destruction. In December 1982, while Philip Leakey was Assistant Minister for Environment and Natural Resources, he asked Kenyans to establish oil distribution companies so as to stem the repatriation of foreign exchange. President Moi appointed Philip Leakey to his cabinet in 1992, when Njoroge Mungai resigned from the government to join the opposition. In March 1992, just 2 months after he had been sworn in as the Minister for Environment and Natural Resources, Philip Leakey claimed the U.S. government was bankrolling the opposition to fund tribal clashes in Kenya. Leakey fought attempts by powerful countries to have the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP headquarters relocated from Nairobi. In a 1994-1995 report, the Comptroller and Auditor General questioned the tender award for the proposed Mazingira House. A contractor abandoned the project despite an initial payment of 87 million shillings as down payment and consultancy charges. When his older brother Richard co-founded the Safina Party of Kenya in 1995, effectively joining the opposition, Philip Leakey found himself in an awkward position. Ironically, KANU welcomed Philip as a Kenyan but treated Richard, who was in the opposition, as a foreigner. At one point, Philip led a delegation of European descent to State House to express their loyalty to President Moi and the ruling party, KANU.
And now you know. Let's take a look at what's happening in the devolved units. Now, shock gripped residents of Stangemogo in Mumias, Kakamega County after a body of a middle-aged woman was found dumped in a ditch along Kakamega-Mumias Road. This and more stories in the County News Roundup.
Residents of Stangemogo in Mumias are living in fear following increasing cases of women being killed and their bodies dumped in the area. A woman's body was found dumped in a ditch along the Kakamega-Mumias Road on Monday morning, a week after another woman's body was found wrapped in a sack and dumped near Isasala River in the area.
Kuna msichana kwa hapa amewekwa ndani ya kunia. Polisi walikuja, walichelewa, ndio chinza ambavyo hao wamechelewa. Wakakuja wakapata, wakafungua hiyo kunia, tukapata mtoto msichana amefungiwa mikono na pisi yake na amegongwa uso peke yake. Hakuna mahali pengine alikuwa na majeraha. Tena kuamkia leo asubuhi tunapata msichana karibu miaka 35, 38, tena kwa hapa tena amebondwa kwa shingo kama mtu amenyongwa. Tafadhali serikali, wananchi wanaumia. Tuangalie hii kisanga tunaweza imaliza namna gani.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance, Joel Gitali, has urged the Minister of Health to hasten implementation of proposals to curb tobacco use, such as changing images on cigarette packets to better inform users of the risks.
Jambo ambalo pia ni la kusikitisha ni kwamba kuna wale ambao wamechukua fursa hii kuwauzia vijana mihadarati, pombe na vitu kama hivyo. Kuna baadhi ya vijana ambao hawangefanya mambo fulani pasipo kulewa, pasipo kutumia dawa za kulevya. Kwa hivyo tuna wasiwasi ya kwamba katika vyuo vyetu, katika shule zetu, vijana wataanza sasa kufikiria ya kwamba kila kitu lazima utumie nguvu, kila kitu lazima ufanye kwa njia fulani.
Elsewhere, the National Independent Church of Africa has backed the regulation of religious organizations, saying it will put in place proper structures for churches to be licensed to operate. They were speaking in Isiolo after their 25th Ordinary Synod session.
Tutahitaji kanisa ambayo iko na mpangilio. You see, the governance of the church, just like the government has the structures, hata kanisa iwe iko na structures. Sio kanisa ya Muriuki na mke wake na amechorwa picha pale. Hiyo sio kanisa inaonyesha mwelekeo wa vile nchi inavyostahili.
So tunataka zote siwe na msajili mmoja. Churches zote siwe registered under the Societies Act. Na vile tuwe na self-regulating. Tuhakikisha ya kwamba tunahusishwa katika jambo lolote ambalo litakalo jumu ama usu kanisa, ili tuwe tunaweka mchango wetu katika bila tutajiendeleza kama watu wa dini mbalimbali.
In Migori, people with disability want the county assembly to pass the Persons with Disability Bill 2022 to address some of their challenges.
The bill had been passed by the parliament, and we've even gone to the departmental, and now the only challenge we have is how to finance it and to make it effective to persons with disabilities. So I'm kindly asking our loving governor to chip in to assist us so that this bill be effective as soon as possible, so that we start enjoying all the efforts that we wanted to have.
And Homa Bay County Woman Representative Jisatieno Osogo has cautioned contractors against substandard work in the county. She was speaking during the launch of Ratanga Market in Ndiwa.
I'm humbly requesting for steady and consistent supervision of this work. Bensouda needs quality. And being myself that I have knowledge in public works, BQs, architectural designs, and even how to do quality surveys, I'm one person to the contractor. I will not allow my NAF coordinator to approve any shoddy job.
Martini Maslin for Prime Edition.
Siamini. Amini usiamini, Holiday Bonanza ni ya kila mtu na zawadi zitakufikia mahali popote. Dial *570#, chagua option 4 na zawadi kibao zinakungoja. Ikiwa kila wiki kuna 250,000 Kenyan shillings za kushindaniwa. Ni *570# pekee, option 4, tushinde.
Mtazamaji, tumekuandalia taarifa zinazogonga vichwa vya vyombo vya habari kutoka hapa jijini Nairobi na pia mashinani.
Wanahabari zaidi ya ubora wao wako ange kukuletea habari pindi zinapochipuka kutoka pembe zote za Kenya.
Kwenye kipindi cha Tamrini tunakuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja kufafanua na kuangazia masuala yanayokuhusu wewe mtazamaji.
Kumbuka, taarifa yenye thamani daima hupokewa kwa amani.
Hivyo basi usikose kuungana nasi kila siku ya wiki.
Tukupakulie na tukutaarifu taarifa yenye mnato kwenye runinga unayoienzi. Kwenye kurunzi mashinani,
sisi DC.
And now let's get down to business. The Kenya Aviation Workers Union KAU will now review its earlier decision to call off a strike due to what it terms as a breakdown in talks on Monday with the government. KAU Secretary General Moses Ndiema says the union has not been heard in its meeting with the Ministry of Transport, adding that it will now hold a delegates meeting on Saturday to decide on whether to reactivate their industrial action.
The intended industrial action was on account of and in protest against the alleged planned deal with Adani Airport Holdings Limited of India to take over the management of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in a public-private partnership deal. KAU claims the deal was being carried out in a secretive manner that will result in job losses.
We are here to say that in today's meeting with the Minister of Transport, we've made no progress, completely zero progress.
KAU issued a 7-day strike notice on August 12th, but called off the strike on Sunday, less than 12 hours before it was to commence, as a series of negotiations with top government officials was slated to kick off. According to KAU Secretary General Moses Ndiema, the union had postponed the planned industrial action for another 14 days after a meeting with Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua on August 15th, 2024. But now, a change of tune.
Our initial decision to postpone our strike action for 2 weeks might be reviewed. We are calling our delegates meeting again on Saturday 24th, where we will discuss whether to wait for 2 weeks or we can reactivate our strike action.
KAU is urging its members not to participate in a public participation exercise slated for Tuesday regarding the proposal by Adani Airport Holdings to take over management and modernization of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport through a concession.
All employees within the JKIA fraternity, please stay away from that engagement. Don't take part in it. They want you to sanitize a bad process.
Alanoko, Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, Kenya earned 142.5 billion shillings from tourism during the first 6 months of this year. This is from 1 million international tourists who visited the country between January and June this year. Representing a 21% growth, the Kenya Tourism Board CEO June Chepkemei attributes increased tourist numbers to enhanced visitors' experience.
Kenya has long been celebrated as a premier tourism destination, with the annual wildebeest migration between July to August putting Kenya on the world map as tourists flock to witness the event dubbed the biggest show on the earth. This year, Kenya has welcomed 1.03 million international visitors during the first 6 months of this year, compared to 847,810 visitors same period last year, representing a 21.3% growth.
We have surpassed our target for the just immediate financial year. Going into the future, we see ourselves really increasing the numbers and even surpassing our 3 million target that we've set for ourselves. But in terms of the impact of tourism in the economy, just between January and June of this year, we have seen about 142 billion receipts, which are actual money that the tourists have let in the country.
She says domestic tourism recorded a 10% growth in bed nights to 2.25 million,
We have seen that domestic tourism is a key pillar that has sustained this sector for the longest. We continuously market the different offerings that we have locally, and we are rolling out Tembea Kenya campaign in a few weeks just to encourage domestic tourists or encourage Kenyans to really travel to Kenya.
Our partnership is actually very, very strong in the sense that the county governments are the ones that are mandated to manage the national reserves. So we come in to give them technical assistance, to give them advice so that those species are not lost on the wildlife.
Kenya Wildlife Service has urged communities to engage in nature-based enterprises, which include crocodile farming, ostrich rearing, chameleon breeding, guinea fowl farming, among others. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Kenya Airways says it is back to profitability after a decade following the announcement of 513 million shillings in half-year net profit as compared to a net loss of 21.7 billion recorded during a similar period in 2023. The airline attributes the profit to a 22% increase in revenue to 91 billion shillings, powered by a 10% growth in passenger numbers.
Kenya Airways says during the first 6 months of this year, the airline experienced a 10% increase in passenger numbers to 2.5 million. The increased passenger numbers drove up Kenya Airways' total revenue by 22% to 91 billion shillings. This, coupled by a 22% reduction in overhead costs, helped the airline fly back from the red to post the first profit since 2013. A 22% reduction in the total operating cost to 90.20 billion shillings contributed to a 30% increase in operating profit, which reached 1.30 billion shillings. The airline's operating margin grew by 1.4%, up from the previous year's 1.3%, while the net margin also improved markedly, moving from negative 28.9% in June 2023 to 0.6% in June 2024. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
And now to the Pwani region, where the Liwatoni Fisheries project in Mombasa is likely to start operations in a year based on the progress of the construction. Blue Economy Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho says a new contractor has been procured with instructions that the project is completed within the new timelines.
The Liwatoni Fisheries Complex is a project that was launched in 2018 and is expected to create thousands of jobs once construction is complete. The project has faced delays by various factors. Construction works resumed last year, but the progress has been slow. Blue Economy Cabinet Secretary is optimistic that the Liwatoni Fisheries Complex will start operations next year.
Nimehakikisha iko rasilimali. Nimehakikisha contractor ambaye amepewa sasa ni mtu mwenye uwezo na nafasi ya kikweli kufanya ile kazi. Na nimesema pale awali na nasema sasa, mpango ni kwamba baina ya miezi 8 na miezi 12 ule mkandarasi atapeana hiyo kazi kwa kwetu. It will be handed over to us within 8 to 12 months.
Joho has ordered families who have encroached on fishing landing sites to vacate immediately.
There are many people that have grabbed our landing sites. Wamechukua hiyo mali ya wavuvi. Kama mtu umejenga nyumba, tafadhali anza kuvunja polepole. Polepole tu. Kama umejenga mahali ambao unajua ni pa wavuvi, anza kuhama polepole. Kuanzia Kiunga mpaka Lungalunga. Polepole tu anza kuhama kwa sababu wavuvi wetu mpaka wawe na mipango ya kueleweka, sustainable programs ya kuwafanya wasonge mbele.
Now, farmers can continue sharing seeds among themselves since the Seed and Plant Varieties Act only regulates commercial distribution of the seeds. Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono says an amendment to the Seed and Plant Varieties Act that targets to outlaw the distribution of uncertified seeds, if enacted in its current form, will considerably address the issue of fake seeds.
The Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service says 10% of seeds in the Kenyan market are uncertified, jeopardizing the country's food security. Officials say a crackdown on fake seed merchants during the last planting season occasioned a certified seed shortage highlighting the infiltration of uncertified seeds.
And we experienced this in Kenya one time when we were enforcing some regulations to make sure that our farmers get the right quality of seed. But during the enforcement, we almost ran short of seeds because most of the seeds were not certified or quality seeds.
Rono says the current Seed and Plant Varieties Act allows small-scale farmers to share seeds, but prohibits sale of uncertified seeds.
When we put up the proper enforcement to ensure that the farmers get the right seed in terms of certification for production, we're able to contain it.
The farm saved seeds for the purpose of exchanging like the cuttings of cassava and the like. That is not regulated in KEFIS and they can continue. So we will not follow them, we will not take them to court.
KEFIS has cautioned that the crackdown on uncertified seeds will be scaled up in efforts to streamline the seed value chain.
Sometimes what happens is that when we don't have enough seeds in the country, the traders take advantage and bring in those unsatisfied seeds. But for this time round, we have enough seeds.
Farmers are expected to harvest over 60,000 tons of maize seed this year, which is the highest in a decade. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And that story by our very own Rioba puts a cap to the business stories as well as the general news. Don't go too far. Our very own Daniel Wahome is already on the other side of the studio to bring you the latest in the world of sports. Of course, interestingly, I want to know from Wahome what will happen to his team that is United this season, given that we already know Chelsea has already started where they left off last season. Don't go too far. That and so much more up next.
Ni zawadi za kila wiki, 100,000 kila wiki, 250,000 kila wiki. Uamuzi ni wako. Sasa Lutomoto kwenye holiday bonanza hii inakuletea game mpya kupitia *570# option 4. Na ujishindia up to 250,000 Kenyan shillings ukiwa nyumbani. Na draw ni ya kila wiki na kupata tikiti yako ni kupitia *570# pekee option 4. Na tikiti yako ikitufikia inaingia ndani ya drum.
Abraham Kibiwott, though, did his best to restore Kenyan honour. They had won this title every year for 37 years, till they lost it last time out in 2021. Some of the greats of athletics have been steeplechasers for Kenya, but after 9 gold medals in a row,
Good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, residential training for Team Kenya ahead of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships set for the 27th to the 31st of August in Peru entered their last week today at the Kasarani Stadium. We know Jacqueline Githinji is the overall winner of the inaugural Lady Luck Pool tournament held in Nairobi.
Team Kenya, under the tutelage of coach Robert Ngisirei, is set to travel to Lima, Peru on 22nd of this month for the Global Showpiece. A total of 19 athletes are currently in camp preparing for the championships. According to Athletics Kenya, the team is raring to go as they aim to emulate their senior counterparts from the just concluded Paris Olympic Games. African 800 meters champion Saram Ra will captain the Kenyan team alongside Edmund Serem, who won silver in the 300 meters steeplechase at the African Senior Athletics Championship in June this year.
I want to believe that what they have done will be good enough for them to compete with the others, although the transformation of athletics has completely changed. There's so much interest from many countries from all over the world.
Meanwhile, Jacqueline Githinji is the overall winner of the inaugural Lady Luck Pool tournament held in Nairobi. Githinji beat Patricia Kiruche in a tightly contested final. Favorite Penina Ross Njoki finished third as Diana Masharia came in fourth. The winner walked away with 50,000 Kenya shillings, while the first and second runners-up pocketed 30,000 and 20,000 Kenya shillings respectively.
New people wamekuja, wametuchallenge. But mimi nasemanga ni God kufika place mtu amefika. So it has been tough, but nimefika hapo and na feel poor.
There are so many people who have this notion that pool is a game that is played by Walevi, and we want to make it known that this is a sport that people can earn a living out of.
And finally, Crispin Odhiambo, popularly known as Kenya One, was dethroned by youngster Steve Otieno from Nairobi University in the just concluded Mombasa Open Darts tournament. Odhiambo came in second as Dafton Mwaboti completed the top 3 positions. The tournament brought together more than 30 darts players from across the country.
Huyu ni kijana ambaye ni mzuri sana kwa huu mchezo wa draft. Ile mashindano yote tumeweka, either akuwe number 2, 3, akifail sana anakuwa number 5.
For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
The Kenya under-20 boys and girls of volleyball teams have intensified training at the National Stadium Indoor Arena ahead of the Africa World Championship qualifiers slated for the 22nd to the 31st of August in Tunisia. The Kenyan girls are training under the watchful eye of Kwantanze girls volleyball team tactician Justin Kigwari, assisted by Catherine Mabui and David Modoi. The boys team is coached by former Kenyan international Sila Makiso, assisted by Jeffrey Omondi and Gideon Njine. According to the tacticians, the boys and girls are responding well to training ahead of the continental assignment. The junior teams were selected after the conclusion of the Term 2 National Ball Games in Kisii County.
We have good girls with good talents. We are trying to correct few mistakes here and there. At the end of the day, we should be able to have a good team that will represent this country well.
So far, these 2 days, the second day for us, and we are seeing that the boys are getting on well, and we pray that at the end of the training, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, God willing, we shall have a very good squad so that they're going to represent our country.
To us as a federation, this is a milestone because for the last 6 years, that is from the year 2018, that's when we had an age group competition. To us now as a federation, this is a plus now that we are coming up again with an age group competition.
Raiding Africa 100-meter record holder Ferdinand Omanyala will face an uphill task at the Celestia Diamond League meeting in Poland following a star-studded entry for the that has been confirmed for the meet. The meet, which is scheduled for Sunday, has attracted a strong field, with the only notable omission being 100-meter Olympic champion Noah Lyles. The list confirmed for the Celestia Diamond League includes the world's fastest man this year and 100 meters Olympic silver medalist Kishen Thompson, 100-meter Olympic bronze medalist Fred Curley, compatriot Christian Coleman, former Olympic champion Marcel Jacobs, Jamaican Akeem Blake, and former European champion Jeremiah Azu, Chituru Ali, and Rohan Watson, who are also in the lineup. Also confirmed for the Diamond League meeting is Olympic 800 meters bronze medalist Mary Mura will participate in the 1,000-meter race.
With Curley to take those 2 places in the final, 9.8. Very fast indeed, with a very slight following win, but nothing really to speak of. Curley delighted.
Kylian Mbappe made his La Liga debut as defending champions Real Madrid were held to a 1-1 draw by Mallorca on the opening day. The France captain scored on his debut for the club in Wednesday's 2-0 UEFA Super Cup win over Atalanta, but failed to get off the mark in domestic football. And so that's the sport for tonight. And Abdiaziz Hashim made a jibe trying to identify, trying to relate me to some foreign club in Europe. I'll tell him this: if you want to catch me with foreign sport, catch me with cricket. And I'll be talking about the Chennai Super Kings in the Indian Premier League. Abdiaziz Hashim, you can stay with the noisy league from England. Over to you.
You already know you're a United fan. You only drew the line the moment all those legends were able to leave the club. But nonetheless, there is still game week 1 will be concluded of the English Premier League with Leicester City, which are the Foxes' newly promoted team, will be facing on Tottenham at exactly 10 p.m. East African time. That is the end of our bulletin this evening. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Brian Muraru. Have a lovely evening ahead.
Kenyans bubbling with joy and cheer. Tukicheer tuko unstoppable. Na tukipatana, our cheer spreads from within, across the world for all to see. We are the champions of cheers. Join in as we cheer on Team Kenya and stand a chance to win amazing prizes. Tusker, proud sponsor of Team Kenya. Terms and conditions apply. Excessive alcohol consumption is harmful to your health. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
But here comes Mary Mora. Mary Mora in the perfect position. This is reminiscent of Sebastian Coe or Steve Ovett when they were at their prime in this event, in the men's event. Can she come through? Hodgkinson kicks. Hodgkinson kicks away from Mora. Mora doesn't look like she's got anything there. And Keely Hodgkinson is beginning to struggle. Saguma is coming. Mary Mora couldn't go with her this time. It's a silver for Kenya. 6 months or 7 months of work.
Proudly Kenyan, in association with Tusker.
But it's going to be gold for Great Britain. Keely Hodgkinson finally wins the title. Bronze medalist Mary Mora. Mary Mora had beaten Hodgkinson to the Commonwealth Games title in 2022 and to last year's world title in Budapest, but this time the Kenyan lacked the kick to overhaul her and so had to settle for the bronze medal. Nevertheless, the medals are beginning to pile up for Kenya. And it is something for her to build on with another Olympic Games coming up in 2028.
Proudly Kenyan, in association with Tusker. Kenyans bubbling with joy and cheer. Tukicheer tuko unstoppable. Na tukipatana, our cheer spreads from within, across the world for all to see. We are the champions of cheers. Join in as we cheer on Team Kenya and stand a chance to win amazing prizes. Tusker, proud sponsor of Team Kenya. Terms and conditions apply. Excessive alcohol consumption is harmful to your health. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
set it, you have it, pick up. So when me set it, you have it, pick up.
Nige ni chape chape, chape chape ni setie ni shande shande, shande shande. Goja mapikin baka lale anguka nayo twende down knees down kwa carpet. Bad girl kariri nafanya na kam esa. Only fun mindo recording hizo videsa. Dema uru lakini ni peng makutesa. Don Julio ananyunyanga bila chesa. Number uno mini mzinga nani.
Yes. Set It. That is a song that is actually trending on TikTok. That's the dance that is trending. If you haven't seen it, well, you've seen it here. So you better go on TikTok and also try those moves.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Wow, go on. And big shout out to everyone who did justice to this beat, man. Especially Brooklyn boys. Hey!
They did good. How you doing?
How you doing, guys? We have a lot to discuss about this song, but today guza tu kidogo yani. There's one thing I've realized, Miss Via. Squeezing ngoma zinavuma na trend.
Yeah.
The other day, manze, anguka nayo imeshika ma Airways.
Yeah.
And then now Set It na take over, anguka nayo. I don't know where we're heading to.
It's one challenge over the other, one challenge over the other. And it's a good thing. I actually love it, by the way. I really love what TikTok is doing to the entertainment industry because songs are trending over there and everyone is kind of just in that tune and in that vibe.
Wow.
Well, how you doing? This is a Grapevine. Welcome to the show, and this is how we started off. As you can see, we've started it on a high. So just know that that is the pace that we are about to keep up with.
That's what's up. Miss Universe went down, so keep it right here for more, man.
My name is Vivian Dago. You can simply just call me Miss V.
Jack Muller, the party daddy.co.ke, aka you already know what time they say.
And you know what this right here is?
Grapevine.
What you gotta do? We start off at the Alliance Francaise where they had an event dubbed Breaking Mtaani, and it was all about breakdancing. As we all know, this time round at the Paris Olympics, breaking was recognized as a sport. But apparently I hear that in 2028 it won't be there no more. But right here in Kenya, we have dope breakdancing dancers. They're called B-boys and B-girls. Let's see how that went down.
Get your classes, watch down. Dancing. Hey, yes.
Breakdancing, also known as b-boying, is one of the elements of hip-hop. It is a dynamic and acrobatic street dance style that emerged in the 70s in New York City, started by African Americans. It grew out of the larger hip-hop culture and has roots in various dance forms, including martial arts, gymnastics, and traditional African-American and Puerto Rican dance styles.
She came to win. Okay.
Breakdancing is characterized by its breaking steps, which include top rock, which is standing footwork, down rock, which is moves performed on the ground, power moves, which is dynamic spins and acrobatics, and freezes, which are the sudden stops in a striking pose. The dancers are known as B-boys and B-girls.
Okay, flexible style and the shapes. All right. He says I'm not done yet. West side, let's go. Repping that west side. At least we're breaking in the house.
The dance form has expanded globally with an array of organizations and independent competitions supporting its growth.
Okay, energy crowd.
Here in Kenya, the Alliance Francaise held one of such battles dubbed Breaking Mtaani.
Kagemi representing.
The dancers, cutting across different ages, got to demonstrate their skills and creativity. There were different categories: under 16 boys, under 16 girls, and over 18 boys. They went on a one-on-one battle where the judges would immediately after pick the winner.
Let's go.
Bundle up, my whole style is so cold. I glow like old guys go gold. My flow got no front in the vocal. Your flow got no button, it's so old.
This went on for several rounds till they got the best of the best for each category. Breaking has been incorporated in the Olympics for the very first time as a sport this year in Paris, and it is only right for the Kenyan B-boys and B-girls be given all the support they may need to hone their skills for them to soar higher.
Yes. He's got the power.
Nilipenda juu kuna moves hapo zinakaa fiti na nilipenda sana.
B-boy, yani ina help kwanza ma teenagers ku avoid vitu mbaya mbaya ma bad companies. Like B-boy, like ukwa free time unaenda una dance, like hadi una nini ya kufanya mambo mbaya.
Tukianza we didn't know tutafika kwa Olympics. So kuna wase walikuwa na do for fun. Kuna wase wako hapo juu ya do kama mimi sasa. Ili kama ikaingia kwa system, sisi tunaweza funza msee na kuja ashinde event na make do, tukaona ai. Mbona tusiendelee? Tukaendelea. So tukanaacha wase, at least tukue wengi, tusikue few. Now as you can see, number inaenda kigrow.
Wow, breakdance is such a genre, man. A genre that everybody need to embrace. Yani, apart from, the dance itself, it's a way of, it's more of a therapy, man, yeah? It's something that you can just do to stretch your body like this and that. You already know, man. Right about now, I want to take you to some coastal musical performance that went down at Alliance Française. Now, Katoi, who is a songwriter and a singer from Malindi, had an amazing performance alongside the Mjikenda Jazz Band. Let's check it out.
The Alliance Française is always up to celebrate culture, and this time round it was all about the Mijikenda community at an event dubbed Mijikenda Music Fusion. On the spotlight was Katoi and the Mijikenda Jazz Band. Their performance celebrated the rich cultural heritage of the Mijikenda communities, which are comprised of various ethnic groups along the Kenyan coast. This event showcased traditional music, dance, and